What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to try to play some DDD with you guys and go through some test hands, and in the process try to teach the deck. And this is kind of a challenge because DDD is probably the hardest deck in the game. At least it's the hardest deck that I've ever played, but I'm going to try to break it down as simply as I can as we go through the test hands, and I'm going to try not to lose you. So we're going to try to break down how to combo with DDD a little bit, because when you see your hand, it's just a whole bunch of gibberish, and there's so many effects on your cards. You don't know what to actually summon, what to activate in your scales. And then when you get to Gilgamesh, which is your Link 2, you don't know what to place in the scales with Gilgamesh, and it's a whole mess. So I'm going to do my best to kind of explain that to you as we go. And I think instead of going through, okay, here's a 1-card combo, here's a 2-card combo, I'm just going to do test hands, because you need to be able to play not only the 1 and 2 card combos that you've memorized, but also you need to know what to do when you've drawn the pieces that are normally in your deck, or when you kind of open up weird variations. You have to know how to optimally play. And I'm going to preface this a little bit with, I don't know how to optimally play. I'm not a DDD like savant, you know what I mean? So I'm going to do my best with what I know how to play the deck, but I think I know it well enough where I can actually put out a little bit of knowledge on to YouTube and try to help any players that are newer to the deck that want to learn how to pick it up. All right, so we've shuffled up, or I've shuffled up. We're gonna go ahead and draw a test hand here. This deck is full, it's 40 whatever cards. It's the same list that I showed in a somewhat recent DDD deck profile. I'll put that link in the description so you can actually see what deck I'm starting with, so you can start with something similar if you want. But yeah, we'll go ahead and go through. I'm playing pretty much, I think, is the normal stuff in the list. So let's go ahead and draw some test hands. So we have Swirl Slime, Kepler, Zero King Rage, Necro Slime, and Veiler. All right, so we have a pretty gas hand right here. We have a few lines of play. So in this particular case, we've opened Swirl Slime, which is a way to fusion summon, and we've opened Necro Slime, which is another way to fusion summon in our opening hand. And usually we try to get these into the graveyard in the middle of the combo, because we've opened them, we have a few options that we might want to have come in handy. So first of all, if we ignore these 4 cards here, we have a Kepler summon to get into a kind of a 1-card combo. But not really, because in this particular hand, we've drawn one of the cards that we want to place in the scale with Gilgamesh to do this 1-card combo. So this is kind of an example of where it's not going to work out perfectly, and we have to know how to react. All right, so let's go ahead and try out some stuff here. We're going to actually discard the Swirl Slime and the Zero King Rage to summon the Genghis. From here, we're going to go ahead and normal summon Kepler, and on summon Kepler is going to be able to search us a Dark Contract, and also High King Genghis is going to be able to summon one out from our graveyard, and we're going to go ahead and summon out this Zero King Rage. So let's go ahead and do that here, and then Kepler can go ahead and search out a contract for us. Now Kepler is basically always going to search a copy of Dark Contract with the Gate, which will get you another DD monster to your hand. The only time you wouldn't do this is if you already have one, in which case you would just get the Dark Contract with the Swamp King in almost all cases. So we're going to go ahead and add contract with the Gate. We have a Necro Slime, a Veiler, and a contract with the Gate in our hand now. And from here, we can go ahead and activate the contract from the Gate. What we can also do is activate our Zero King Rage to send this Kepler to the graveyard, and then which goes to the extra deck, and now call that our opponent can't use hand traps for the rest of this turn. So we have a pretty solid lockdown here with what we are able to actually do. So we're going to go ahead and try to resolve our Gilgamesh uninterrupted. They can't imperm us because we have a negate. They can't hand trap us with any monster hand traps because we've turned that off with Zero King Rage, and we're effectively able to full combo without any worry. Okay, so let's go ahead and activate this Dark Contract with the Gate, and we're going to search out our copy of DD Griffin. Now, essentially, every single combo revolves around DD Griffin. DD Griffin has so many effects and all of them kind of lead you into getting to your interruptions. So this is where Griffin is really going to come in handy here. We're going to search for this and then be able to special summon it out right here. And now we can go ahead and attempt to link summon into our copy of Gilgamesh, right? So that's a link 2. It requires 2 DD monsters, excuse me, and we're going to go ahead and summon him there. And now we have to place some scales. We have a few things to think about when we place scales. The first one being we have to place scales so that we can pendulum, or so that we can get 2 level 4 monsters on board, because the rest of the combo all revolves around getting to our rank 4 monster, DDD Wave King Caesar. We need 2 level 4s on board. I don't care how we do it, but it has to be done. So let's go ahead and check out how we can do that. Let's look at what we have in our extra deck to pendulum summon. We have a level 10, we have a level 4, and we have a level 1. All we really care about is getting scales so that we can pendulum summon the Griffin. The rest we can worry about later, but we really need to pen summon this Griffin here. So let's take a look at what we can do to get us there, right? Let me pull out our scale options here. We can scale another Griffin. For example, we can scale Copernicus. That's a scale 1. We can scale a Orthros. This is a scale 3. Those are all of our low scales. Now let's look at our high scales. We have another Kepler. We have a Oblivion Ragnarok. This is a scale 5. And then we have a Thomas. Okay, so that's a scale 6. We basically need 1 from this pile and 1 from this pile. Now there's another kind of option, which is Cerberus here, which is a scale 6, but that doesn't do us very much good, because the only way Cerberus is good is if you scale Cerberus plus the Zero King Rage, but right now that's not going to be very valuable, so we're going to leave that one behind. We're also going to leave behind Kepler, because this is not going to do us very much good either, and we already have access to Griffin, so generally this one is not going to be the hot. In some cases Griffin is, but that's usually when we don't already have access to one. We only need 1 in rotation to really get us anywhere. Okay, so what are our scales gonna be? Well, we need to get 2 level 4s on the board somehow, right? So what can we do about it? Well, first of all, if we don't have 2 level 4s in our extra deck to pendulum summon, we need to get a level 4 in our hand, because Swirl Slime is going to be able to banish itself to summon a DD from our hand. So in what way can we get something to our hand that's level 4? Well, we have a card called DD Savant Thomas, which is able to add a DD pendulum back from our extra deck, from our face-up extra deck, into our hand. Okay, well, that means all we have to do is get another level 4 into our face-up extra deck, which means we have to destroy another pendulum level 4. DD Orthros can destroy itself. If we scale Orthros plus Thomas, now we're cooking, okay? Because we are able to get the Orthros into our hand pretty easily. Let me show you how we're going to do that. So first we're going to go ahead and pendulum summon. We have 3 and 6 scales, so we're going to pendulum summon a level 4 right here. Has to go to a zone that a link monster points to, because it's coming out of the extra deck. And now we can use Orthros effect to destroy itself and another DD card or a Dark Contract. Okay, we're basically good to we can just go ahead and pop this contract with the gate, and we're gonna pop the Orthros, right? We're just gonna get rid of those. Now we're gonna go ahead and activate DD Savant Thomas, add the Orthros to our hand, and now we're gonna use DD Swirl Slime, banish itself to summon the Orthros. Okay, so we have gotten 2 level 4s on board that way. Basically, what if we kind of take a step back? If we need level 4s from our deck, we have to put at least 1 in the scale and destroy it. Okay? Or if we already have 2 level 4s in our extra deck, we don't have to worry about doing that. Okay? We can play stuff that will get us a little bit more advantage. But in this way, we figured out how to get a second level 4 on board, and we're kind of cooking. The other thing I kind of forgot was when we pendulum summon Griffin, he can discard 1 DD card to draw a card, okay? And because we have Necro Slime, we'd rather have this in our graveyard, so we're going to go ahead and discard the Necro Slime, rewind a little bit, discard the Necro Slime, draw 1, and it's a Copernicus. That would have solved a lot of our issues if we actually did that on time, but that's okay. We don't need to worry about that right now. Let's just pretend this is an Ash Blossom and we're kind of chilling. Okay, so from here, what do? We have 2 level 4s on board. We're protected from Imperm, and our opponent can't use monster hand traps. We're just going to go ahead and overlay for our rank 4. Alright, so Wave King Caesar has an effect. The detached one is not going to come up right now. But basically, if this thing goes to the graveyard, you can search a Dark Contract. That's one thing we can do with it. We can link it off, get it to the graveyard, search a Dark Contract, or we can overlay Marksman King Tell, which is a rank 5 on top of it. And what this one does is we can, when this goes to the graveyard, it sends a DD monster or Dark Contract from the deck to the grave. So which one do we want? Do we want a new Dark Contract, or do we want something from the deck to the grave? Well, that usually depends on whether your Necro Slime is in rotation already or not, and whether you have access to a Dark Contract with the Swamp King. Because we already have a Necro Slime in rotation, we don't really need to use this to dump it, right? So we're just going to go ahead and utilize Wave King Caesar to search instead, and that's going to be a lot better for us. So we're going to get this to the graveyard by link summoning another copy of Gilgamesh, which is not going to do anything, but it will just get us our Wave King Caesar into the graveyard, and now we can use that Wave King Caesar to search a copy of Swamp King. Here we go, and now we can activate Swamp King. Swamp King is just another way to fusion summon. So now we have 2 ways to fusion summon ready to roll. We have Swamp King by banishing 2, and we also have Necro Slime by banishing 2. So we're just going to fire those off really quick because that's going to be our best play right now. We'll just go ahead and do Swamp King first. Let's banish a Gilgamesh and our Wave King Caesar. Here we go, and that's going to summon us out a copy of Flame King Genghis. This is a level 6 fusion that says when we special summon, or when we summon another DD monster, we can use this to summon another one back from grave. So we're going to take advantage of that. We're going to banish a Necro Slime and the Orthros here to summon out a second copy of Flame King Genghis. And now, because we've summoned a DD monster while Genghis is on the field, this one's going to activate to summon one from the grave, and we're going to go ahead and summon our Griffin. Now, Griffin, when it's summoned from grave, is able to search us a DD or Dark Contract, or search us a DD card. So this is where we search our one-of trap card in the deck, DDD Headhunt, which is an incredible card. It's a monster effect negation, and then you steal it for 2 turns, so that's going to be super good. So we're going to add that to our hand, but I'll just leave it on the field to remember we have it. And now the last thing we're going to do is go ahead and overlay these 2 for our rank 6, which is going to be DDD Wave King High Caesar. And this is a non-once per turn negation of any effects that would special summon a monster, so that's very good. And the last play we're going to make is overlaying a copy of Deus King Machinex on top of our Gilgamesh, and this one is going to be able to take our opponent's stuff and attach it to Deus Machinex as material, also not once per turn. And in this particular case, we are going to be able to pop the Dark Contract to attach our opponent's monster once, and then we can detach 2 to do it again if we wanted to. So we have 2 interruptions here, 2 interruptions here, and 1 with Headhunt, plus the Veiler in hand, and then we have a bunch of follow-up. We have protection on our turn when it comes back around, so we have some quality plays. So that's going to wrap up this particular test hand. Let's do another one to see how it changes when we draw a little bit different stuff, and hopefully we can get through that one a little bit faster since we've talked through already what we're trying to do with our combo and what we're trying to do with our scales. So let me go ahead and wrap these up, shuffle up the deck, give it a decent little pile here, and from there we're gonna go ahead and draw a new test hand. We start off with a Griffin, always good. We have Mourner, Ash, Patent License, and Copernicus. Okay, so right off the bat, I see we have 2 level 4s, which means we are looking good. We're going to go ahead in this particular test hand, start off by normal summoning a Copernicus. And this is going to be able to foolish a DD monster from our deck to the graveyard. And in this case, the only thing we really need to do is get fusion material stuff into our grave. So we're going to go ahead and dump a copy of Necro Slime. Now your other option typically is DD Lamia, which is an extender if we really needed one, but we don't need one. We have Griffin as an extender already. So let's just go ahead and dump that Necro Slime. And now we're going to be able to special summon the DD Griffin. And here we can link into our copy of Gilgamesh. Now hopefully our Gilgamesh resolves when we activate it on summon to place scales. Okay, now let's look at what scales do we place when we already have 2 level 4s in rotation ready to be pendulum summoned back out. Well, in this case, our best scales are going to be the Ragnarok, which is a scale 5, and an Orthros, which is a scale 3, and that's going to be a pretty solid play for us to make here. So let's go ahead and scale the Orthros and the Ragnarok. Orthros is a destruction effect. We can destroy one of our own cards, which will come up later. And then Ragnarok is just an additional summon extender. So we'll be able to pretty easily extend into the same combo and board we just had. We're going to go ahead and pendulum summon 2 here. That's 2 level 4s. Let's overlay those for you know what it is. Wave King Caesar. And now we can go ahead and use, or we have to decide, do we want to use Wave King Caesar, or do we want to go ahead and rank it up basically into Marksman King Tell? Well, we have a couple of options here, right? We can either, or we can do both. There is a way, since we are able to scale Ragnarok, we can do both. So in this particular case, we're going to actually do both methods. We're going to go ahead and overlay up into Marksman King Tell. We're going to detach one just for its own effect. We can burn our opponent for a free 1000 damage, so let's make sure we do that. And now let's go ahead and link into our second copy of Gilgamesh here. Okay, so from here, King Tell is going to be able to Foolish Burial another monster from our deck to our hand. So let's make sure we go ahead and do that. And in this case, our options are really Vice Typhon is one. This is just basically a second copy of Necro Slime. Our other option is going to be Swirl Slime if we wanted to special summon something from our hand. We have a Lamia that we already talked about as an extender. Or we can maybe dump a copy of DD Orthros if there was a better way to get it back to our hand, which maybe there is. Let's think about it, because when Dark Contract with Patent License goes to the graveyard, we're able to add something back. But is there a way to even get this into the graveyard? We could have done it earlier when we pendulum summoned the Griffin, but that wouldn't have really done anything good for us. So I think our best option here is just gonna be to go ahead and Foolish the Vice Typhon. And honestly, I think this is gonna be best for follow-up. It's not really gonna be that great this turn, because if our opponent had Imperm, they would have already Impermed us, and the DDD Flame High Genghis is just going to be better for the follow-up play. But let's go ahead from here, use our copy of Necro Slime. Let's banish our Necro Slime, plus we'll banish the Gilgamesh to perform our first fusion summon for the level 6 DDD Flame King Genghis. So we're going to go ahead and summon that guy out, and because we've summoned that guy out, we're able to summon out something back with Ragnarok. So from here, we're going to go ahead and use that, and we're going to summon back out the Wave King Caesar. Why are we doing that? Well, because we can get this to the grave to do another search effect. This thing only resolves when it goes from field to grave. Earlier, it went to the graveyard as material for the level 5, which is not good. It doesn't get its effect, but if we are able to bring it back and then send it again, we can then search with this guy. So we still have an active search available. And now, when we summon this guy, we have Flame King Genghis to activate here to summon out one more monster, and we're going to go ahead and summon out our DD Griffin and use the DD Griffin to search our DDD Headhunt. Okay, so we're pretty well set up right now. And from here, we have a couple options. Our first option is to link to, again, into our third copy of Gilgamesh. But that's kind of lousy because that would be all three. We have nothing for follow-up, and we're kind of just burning ourselves out of resources. Our other option is to use DD Orthros, right? We can target another card on the field, or another DD card and a spell trap on the field and destroy them. So we're just going to use Orthros to destroy our Wave King Caesar and itself. And now we can go ahead and use our Wave King Caesar effect. And essentially, we're in the exact same place, except we have an additional Gilgamesh in the extra deck, just with our Orthros destroyed, right? So let's go ahead and use Wave King Caesar to search a Dark Contract spell. Now, do we want to search Contract with the Gate, or do we want to search a copy of Swamp King? Realistically here, I think Swamp King is going to be better, just to get us our second fusion monster out here. Gate could be good if we had another DD monster in hand, because then we could gate for a Swirl Slime and get a fusion monster out that way. But we don't have an extra DD to use in our hand, so let's go ahead and add the Swamp King to our hand. And now we can activate the Swamp King here to fusion summon one more time. We're going to go ahead and banish the Copernicus, plus probably the Marksman King Tell here. And that will get us our second copy of Flame King Genghis. And then from there, we go back into basically the same end board that we had last game. So we can overlay these two for a copy of Wave King High Caesar. And then we can overlay with the Gilgamesh one copy of Machinex. And we have literally the same amount of interruptions as last time, except we have one more hand trap in hand instead of having the copy of Wave King, or the Flame High King Genghis on the field, which is not an interruption on our opponent's turn, so that's okay. So we have 2 interruptions here, 2 interruptions here, 1 headhunt, and 2 hand traps, so 7 interruptions on the board with some follow-up because we have Ragnarok ready to roll on our next turn. If we just summon anything, we just get a whole bunch of resources back from the graveyard. So, yep, super clutch test hand there, and I think a good demonstration of how to play that particular hand. Let me know in the comments below where I went wrong or where I could have done a little bit more. I'm interested to hear. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and do one more test hand, one more talk through, and see how it goes. Hopefully you guys are still here. Leave a comment if you are. Leave a like, sub to the channel if you are enjoying this content. Yeah. Okay, let me shuffle it up and we'll see how we do. All right, good. Let's go ahead and deal out our next test hand. We have 1 Ogre, 1 High King Rage, 1 Lamia, 1 Necro Slime, and 1 Ash. Okay, this is an absolutely abysmal hand. I'm not actually sure there's anything in particular we can do here, but let me think about it. Let me read these cards a little bit. You know, honestly, if we played like Relinquished Anima, we might be able to do something. But yeah, this is going to be a little bit tough here, guys. I'm pretty sure this is just brick. I'm pretty sure this is an unplayable hand. We need to get this Lamia to the grave. Send the Necro to the grave. Yeah, there's no way to get either of these to the graveyard, so it's pretty much a brick. We're going to have to scoop it up. All right, so yeah, that shows a little bit when you play so many bricks in your deck, what can happen if you draw multiple of them at once. Not ideal. Let's go ahead and deal this one out one more time. Okay, do we get the same hand? Did we get the same hand? Basically. That's DDD for you, fellas. That's DDD for you sometimes. Okay. Vice Typhon, Dark Contract, Nightmare Throne, there we go, DD Griffin, and Swirl Slime. Now we're cooking, dude. Now we're cooking. We found all of our gas. Let's go ahead and see what we can do with this. So Swirl Slime, Griffin, Throne, License, and Vice Typhon. Okay, thinking here. I think we're going to go ahead and start with the Nightmare Throne in this particular case. And with Nightmare Throne, we search a 0 attack, 0 defense Fiend monster. Now, let's just start with idea number 1. We could just search a copy of Copernicus, and that would give us Copernicus plus Griffin, which would end up in the exact same board as the last playable test hand that we had. But instead, let's change it up. Let's go for a copy of Kepler. Here we go. Good deal. So there's our Kepler for us. We can normal summon the Kepler to start off. in this particular case. I'm trying to think of how we can get our scales. This might be the same as our first test hand, but hey, let's just play through it. Let's just play through it, see what happens. We're going to add our contract with the gate. This time our contract with the gate doesn't have to search Griffin because we already have one, which is pretty clutch. So we're going to go ahead and activate that. And in this particular case, I think we're going to go ahead and search a copy of Orthros. Here we go, and that's going to give us our tuner access, which we haven't had in the first few test hands. So hopefully we can summon out the Siegfried here. I just have to remember how to actually do these combos a little bit. So from here, we're going to go ahead and special summon out our Griffin. And now we can do our link play into the Gilgamesh. All right, from here, what are going to be the scales? Okay, so we have Kepler and Griffin in the extra, but we have another level 4 access with Orthros in our hand already, which is kind of nice. So let's think really quick about how we can actually get into our rank 4 plays. And we also, whenever we want, we have Swirl Slime, Pitch Typhon to fusion summon here. So honestly, probably could have done that a while ago just to be able to protect our Gilgamesh from imperm, but we're going for maximum gas here. So, you know, that's just a play to keep in mind. All right, so for our scales, our options realistically are going to be Ragnarok, Thomas for our high scales, and then Orthros for our low scale. I'm not sure that any other option is going to be better. I think in this case, because we already have fusion access, I'm gonna not go for the Ragnarok. I'm gonna go for the Thomas, and I think that might be the correct play. I'm so unsure, you know what I mean? But I'm gonna play it out. I'm gonna play it out because we already played one with Ragnarok, so let me go ahead and try it with Thomas here. Let's go ahead and Pendulum Summon. We'll go for Griffin plus Orthros here. Let's go ahead and overlay for our rank 4 here, and then do we want to send this or do we want to send the rank 5? In this particular case, we want to, I think we're gonna roll with this with this guy here. So let's go ahead and use Orthros to pop both. So I don't think we want to send Necro. We would rather search the Swamp King. Because we have Swirl Slime as a fusion access already. So yeah, let's go ahead and try that. We're gonna pop the Orthros and pop our Wave King Caesar here, and I'll use Wave King Caesar to search out our copy of Dark Contract with the Swamp King. All right, good. We have access to double fusion monster right now, so let's see what we can do with it. Here we go. I think first we're just gonna go ahead and go Swirl Slime Pitch, and we can go ahead and summon out our first fusion monster, which is Flame King Genghis here. We can put it right there, that's fine. Now we're actually gonna use our Thomas to add our Orthros back to hand here. All right, we're cooking. We're cooking. I think I figured it out. All right, we're gonna activate our Swamp King here. Activate the Swamp King, great. We're gonna go ahead and banish 2 from the grave. And we're gonna banish our Orthros and our Wave King Caesar to summon out another Genghis. And then because we've summoned one, we're gonna use our first Genghis to summon back out our copy of Griffin. There we go, use Griffin effect to search our DDD Headhunt. It took me there. It took me a while. It took me a while, but we got there eventually. All right, let's go ahead and, well, add the Headhunt, but we're gonna put it right there into our Spell and Trap zone. And now we can banish our, or well, first you might as well just overlay for the rank 6 play. No sense in waiting any longer to do that. Now we're gonna banish our Swirl Slime. Whoops, banish the Swirl Slime to special the Orthros, and now we can synchro summon. Let's go. We found a way to summon out the Siegfried, which is a Spell and Trap negate, and now we can overlay with the Gilgamesh into our Deus King Machinex. This is the best board we've ended on all day, and to really capitalize on it, we can even just go ahead and activate the patent license over the Nightmare Throne, just because it's more interruption. It's like a mini floodgate. Okay, so we have double Wave King Caesar, we have a Siegfried, we have 2 or 3 Maka Next effects. 2? Yeah, I don't know. I think 3 Maka Next effects and then a Headhunt. So we're cooking. We don't have any hand traps, so hopefully we don't get Dark Rulered. But yeah, we got options here. So that wraps it up for the test hands. I think that's a good one to end on. We finally figured out a way to summon Siegfried, which was a pain in the butt, but we got it done. And yeah, with that, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed these combos. They're hard. They're not intuitive. I probably didn't do them perfectly, but hopefully you've learned from this a little bit, or hopefully this helped you try to figure it out yourself, and kind of just me talking through the thought process of how to actually combo with DDD. I don't know. Hopefully it's valuable. Let me know in the comments below what you think. And with that, we'll catch you guys in the next one. We'll see you soon.